Memo bibi akwaba eba Melodies TV so. Nansi ya mobeka ya me the story bremo se Ghana for bebre na ebo eye Chief Justice Gertrude Tukuno Ghana for ebo ni chiye. Na nini na eye Anas ene Ken Agyapong ensem a ekokopie wonenim ruling na ono edeba ya ama Ghana for trese dabi we the Chief Justice ruling there entwaye. Na meboss reaction no what people have said. Me we are meboss video no na what here, but this is the brief of the whole thing. Yenim Ken Agyapong semwa ananyama wo yefa anaso. Anas the Nicol court for so many years. Na yebesesa judge ewo case ni mu ene de judge for bae. Na judge for na wo betena case ni so de utumi hu ni se ono no wodwa Anas the dada. No wodwa Anas the da ene oba betena case no esu. Inti eye defamation case enye criminal case. Na judge ni ruling mu no afi wa hye make criminal pronouncement ewo Anaso. Ene Anas ye terrorist or a journalist or ye kronfo or ye wudini or kunipa the end jaja wo case defamatory case sunu in someone work no until the assembly no etia Anas and Anas the case no echo Supreme Court judges mo he jaja me the defamation case aba no we the case no to say criminal ama work kan sem etia me and no crowd say judge no of adwemo po ansa na wo ba be di case no nti me dia meka bia no akokosa tra koma enye ne fe nti Supreme Court yi mo hwe asem na mu na mo nsesa judge no ne ruling no nti Supreme Court judges no 3-2 first judges ni 5 nti 2-2 but dia na wo ye opinion a wo case ni so a wo no ruling no e na be make decision no e Chief Justice and a Chief Justice no bo Anas nsem guye. But judge ba ko a oka ho as a judge we make so wono na wone sa kan Chief Justice in a contest say when na benya Chief Justice position no your friend no Justice Kulendi na Justice Kulendi ni kan sembi efa sa judge na wodi Anas case ne ho asem a wokan na me be kenkan atrew o say violent abuse of judicial power. Justice Kulendi blast judge who handled Anas and Ken Agyapong's case. Also, one of the Supreme Court justices who dissented in a 3-2 ruling against Anas Anas certiorari application against a High Court ruling had harsh words for the lower court judge who, among others, accused Anas of engaging in investigative terrorism. Justice Emmanuel Kulendi wrote in recently released full judgments that Justice Eric Ban, who handled the case at the High Court, exhibited bias against the investigative journalist. Also, Justice Kulendi accused Justice Ban of being actuated by ill will and malice in his handling of the case, asserting that the judge displayed bias against Anas and his investigative journalism methods. Inti judge we there or trese dabi. Sa judge no di Anas and Ken Agyapong nsem no judge no oba na wafa na adwende da. Uchi nsem a woka no wafa na adwende da se will be bu asem neti Anas. Also the defamation case, which stems from comments made by Agyapong against Anas, saw Justice Ban dismissing the case in March 2023, describing Anas as a self-confessed criminal and justifying Agyapong's characterization of him as an extortionist. Displeased with the verdict, Anas pursued 2 legal avenues for redress. Also, secondly, first, Anas appealed to overturn Justice Ban's judgment, a decision yet to be determined. Secondly, he filed an application at the Supreme Court accusing Justice Ban of bias and requesting the Apex Court to nullify the initial decision. Chief Justice Gertrude Tukuno presided over a panel consisting of Justice Samuel Adibu Asiedu, Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, Isifu Umoro Amadu Tanko, and Emmanuel Kulendi. In a decision of 3-2, the panel ruled against Anas, with Chief Justice Tukuno, Justice Asiedu, and Mensah-Bonsu forming the majority. Justice Asiedu, who drafted the majority opinion, maintained that Justice Ban was not biased and had the right to make critical comments against the journalists in his judgment. However, Justice Tanko and Kulendi dissented. Justice Kulendi accused Justice Ban of abusing judicial power through his toxic, caustic, and unsavory descriptions of Anas, stressing that such conduct could deter citizens from seeking legal remedies for their challenges. Intino utie Justice Kulendi now, or say adie we ya judge no, ede ye Anas no. Dachi gani ni bi konya asem a, onye so de be court kra biom. Ko be ka say judge we me court kra no, ye kodi asem ama nipa kro na aka say me kra me ye kronfo. But other judges no, including the Chief Justice no, etre say judge ne nsem a wokan ne de yo no judge ne de wehu e na woka. Nti ene de ene ntre say judge ne ye biased. Yenkotie the actual report amede bae no.
Etiefo me mo bibia kwaba eba Melodies TV so. Me hu ne say the Chief Justice of Ghana, Madam Tokonu, Nkrofo Bonechi over judgments of Anas Anas case. Na omo nsensem na se no. Me betretre mu na Nkrofo hu de eko. Now, years ago, Ken Agyapong, in a bid, say obe counter Anas, ne number 12 expose, Anas yafa nyantechi hono. Ken Agyapong, edin sembi betutu ja, wakan sembi etia Anas hu ne se Ken Agyapong wegu ne ho fin. Nti Anas edimrika edin sem no, ekodan court. Se Ken Agyapong wegu ne ho fin nti no court nke bi ma no. Asem no ya asem bi ache yi. They have been going to court now so. Na still I say egusu na mo nti ye ba besesa judge ewo case ni so. And Anas and Crawford were not happy with say yes as judge because apparently no said they were alleging says a new judge na ye de neba no. Some people were alleging say or Ken Agyapong nipa allegedly. So Anas ne Crawford ye say any can see assistant judge. Nanka old judge na no in the case no. Now so still yampene yama new judge ene ba be the case no. Na new judge ne bae no na odi ruling bae. Na ni ruling na odi bae no. Case no defamatory ana defamation. Defamation case no different from criminal case. Okay? Defamation they say obi egu mi hu fin judge hwe asem ni mu na hwe asem ni mu na nipa ko no ongu mi hu fin a wo se ongu mi hu fin o hwe na wegu mi hu fin so a wo se wegu mi hu fin ti no onye se ma me wate ase na judge kokoma ruling no na judge bekin kan semfa Anas na Anas na kra no wo ye kronfo Anas wo ye sei ti judge ndi na so no de ma ruling na Anas lawyer say judge we ruling na one made there. And listen, judge nin sema wakan no ekokopiem wo Supreme Court, right? But later may read judge nin sema wakan no making kan trail. Don't worry. But I'm just giving you the brief of the whole thing. And Anas and Crawford say, judge we ruling na wodi abai there. And to assume a criminal case bi ananke ye beti ase. But a defamatory. And a yen ye dia to bi so a ye dia ba. Na nsem we okeka fa Anas so there na trese wo no kra na say would kind wasem you already have an issue with Anas inter na wama sa ruling now the man Anas no and not even based on the case inter Anas and Crawford the kodan Supreme Court say Supreme Court enhwe no hu ne say judge ni ruling na wama ye no any defamation there ye ma ruling bi say a criminal court and a criminal case sorry and then the judge ne kan say mu ya ye beti ase ti ekokodan Supreme Court ni ti Supreme Court so etena so na afi on the decision 5-3 bai nti judges 2 esusu say Anas asem a woka na ye no kware judge ne nsem a wokoko kan ne de entwa ye ade ye defamation onso nsem a wakwa akoko e tre say premeditated wafa wadwenya ba say Anas no se na asem ye do enye do wo be cassette no nti ruling na judge na ma no entwa ye judges 2 na etresa na judges 3 etrese judge ni ruling na wa ma na eno ano no Anas ye kronfo nti yenyai nti Ken Agyapong won the case 3-2 it was Supreme Court na eno na ma nkrofo ababebo Chief Justice echi send America no. I've seen lawyers write on social media and a lot of people are bashing the Chief Justice because Chief Justice no ono na now we the final judge and not case ni so ati ase na no ruling no na ma ende Ken Agyapong we win the case against Anas it was Supreme Court and nkrofo tre say na who Chief Justice a who nim judge hunsem na judge akwa sebe allegedly a biased ruling be say now who Chief Justice wakwa judge so there then Ghana we have a problem inti ama social media nkrofo bebre den sema ba betuja na mebe kenkan judge ne sema wakan efa Anaso me wia na makan comments a nkrofo aba on Chief Justice ni ruling no what I say because omoma ruling no omo anfa enkrata no man tro enkrata na mba bonte won say nansen court no sa no moye omema ruling no bombe tro so ruling no ne ho document na beba later ti afiansa ruling ni document aba enkrofo ehwemu the reason why Chief Justice no o ruling case no sa a man enkrofo ni na ekasa da bi we the Chief Justice no wintwa wanya de now judge ne sama okafa Anas any I see the plaintiff is a self-confessed criminal. The plaintiff is a murderer and he killed a former member of parliament, Joseph Boakye Dankwa Edu. The plaintiff is an abettor of the murder of several Chinese nationals. The plaintiff is an evil and dishonest person. The plaintiff is a thief. The plaintiff is suffering from mental derangement. The plaintiff cheated his way through law school. Dabi we sorry when ye judge nsem we ye Ken Agyapong yes Ken Agyapong nsem a wakanfa Anaso a ekoko piem wo court no the plaintiff is a fraudster. The plaintiff is an extortionist. The plaintiff is a blackmailer. The plaintiff is corrupt. The plaintiff corrupts public officials. In the same way ni no. Now let me read what Bright Simmons Edibetuja. A majority of judges on a Supreme Court panel say that a judge who sat on a defamation case brought by Ghana's most famous investigative journalist could have conceivably determined that the journalist is guilty of all these crimes, so they won't squash his ruling of no defamation. Now, let me read Oliver Baka Vomewo. Nedia Wodebetuja. Na eno no ena ama nkrofo ekase no we Chief Justice no when try ye ati ase I mean kind Oliver Baka there no and you see what people are saying. It's quite interesting, right? I see. While your internet was away, this is what happened in the Supreme Court. I say, if you remember some time ago, Anas sued Ken Agyapong for defamation. The High Court judge in the matter decided that this was his perfect opportunity to crucify Anas, and so he laced his boots and descended into one of the most despicable gutter judgments I have ever seen. I say he left the law aside and went on a rampage, insulting Anas and his body of investigative work like no one's business. He called him a thief, a criminal, a murderer, an extortionist, and just about everything in the book. He even went as far as calling Anas a terrorist, just a horrible abuse of judicial privilege. Inti Oliver Baka katre Ghana for say na internet ni hono de see and say na all tremu all taken from Anas and Ken Agyapong case no. I say frankly, it was the lowest point of his judicial career. it was for all of us another shameful display for the entire legal profession. It's what I say. Case eba beto judge nenim ene nsema judge ne kafa anaso no ade bi a entwa ye amma Ghana judges no omuhu en looking neat kra judge no kra no we good judges ni na hu fin. I say Anas went before the Supreme Court seeking an order to squash the despicable judgment of the judge. The Supreme Court ruled narrowly against Anas on technical grounds, telling him to appeal instead of seek certiorari. Or say, I for one, I am saddened for our democracy that it was the Chief Justice vote that sustained the horrible judgment which we should have been quick to wipe from our history books. So I say on no liver there, I say we ni no Chief Justice vote wama judge nensemo kafa anaso ni no ejina no ane no ene wawa. Because this was an opportunity for the Chief Justice to wipe Enimgwasia judge. And according to him, the Enimgwasia judge no edigu judges ni na. I say, but this was a ruling where tomorrow will be kinder to the minority than it would the majority. I say, Justice Kulendi understood better than the majority the moral responsibility of justice, and as such, stood twice taller than the woman he was in competition with not too long ago. Inti Oliver Trim says, our ruling where judges no amano. Da chibi omo ende eyo omo se ye ruling ye dieti omo no. Da chibi ruling no ebebo omo angasa. Na judge baako Justice Kulendi, because Justice Kulendi na emra na ye pese ye chusu maami we as Chief Justice no. No ne Justice Kulendi no ene air contested. So what I say Justice Kulendi ni dia what asem na se ehun ne se dabi case we dia judge ni ruling na wo man na enye. Na Justice Kulendi nsemo a wokan ni o say there can be no greater affront to the rights and honor of a litigant who resorts to the sanctuary of justice to vindicate his rights than this preconceived, biased, prejudiced, and ill-motivated views which the trial judge held of the applicant even before he embarked on the trial of the case before him. Inti Justice Kulendi no ono kran nsemo o try ne say dabi we die o hwe judge ne nsemo a wakafa na so ade na enye criminal case de aba beto judge ne nsemo a judge no aka na te sansa na trial no be koso no kran na judge no wafa na adwen de dada say on pair na asem. And also in my view Justice Kulendi wrote a true Chief Justice's opinion. Shalom. Inti no nkrofo nti ase say the Chief Justice woye judge panyin no ono ebehwe na judge bi aye ade we a chese etia judges ni na image na Chief Justice no apene so say nipa kro na ade a waye no ofo aso eno na nkrofo eka asa ni America na ama social media lawyers a wo mokasa omuni na no ebo Chief Justice ni chi say we die entwaye. I'm not a lawyer and I don't know, but Chief Justice no, she has her own opinion and our trainer join. Eje for mun so mun try mo comment box ni mo. That's it.